Okay, we're rolling. Thank you for coming back so quickly. Ed has a quick little related story to allowing versus not allowing kids.
Yeah, so that whole idea about violence and parents and, guns, could they play with it, whatever, kind of a similar story is I have a friend that's in his 50s, and when he was a child, he said, I always wanted to have a motorcycle. And his mother said, no motorcycle, you can't have a motorcycle, they're dangerous, they're bad, this, that, and the other thing. So of course, the moment he was old enough to own a motorcycle, he got a motorcycle and has driven one almost every day since, even if it wasn't practical, even if it was raining, even though he got in an accident on the freeway and was almost killed. And the next day after, he was bandaged up, he got back on the motorcycle because he's still saying, you can't tell me not to ride my motorcycle. And he knows this, but he can't quite, realize that that might not be in his best interest sometimes.
Well put. So if you were that parent when he was 6 or 8, what would you say to him? I really want a motorcycle. I love motorcycles. I want to ride a motorcycle. What do you say? Community voice. Go ahead.
It's not really important that you want to ride it. You sound really interested in it.
Yeah. Can we get one?
When you're 16 or however old you need to be with motorcycles, and you go through the safety course and you do it the proper way.
Wow, really? Yeah. Cool. Well, how about you get one now and I'll ride on the back? Very good. You honored the feelings. You put a window in the door. It's not realistic now. I mean, maybe you can get a little dirt bike. I know it's not the same. I don't mean the engine. Well, maybe even. I know people go to desert quadding, but you'll find a way. You value and validate. You acknowledge. And I realize, again, it's the causative agent. You want to be empowered. And you stroke the trait. That's so cool. You have that spunky spirit. You want to be out there.
Kelly has one.
Really?
She's got a little motorcycle.
There you go. There you go.
That's her super fast.
There you go. Thrill sensibly. And my kid right now is in Borneo, so I say thrill sensibly and safely, for God's sakes. So now our ending is Loving More Anything Universe, TSS. Thrill sensibly and safely.
Where is he?
In Borneo. The wilds of Borneo. It's off Malaysia. I don't even know really where it is. Well, he's doing a study abroad. Anyway, so, but it's just interesting as a parent. Again, I love your spunky spirit. Thrill sensibly and safely. I mean, odds it's just sensibly, but anyway. All right, onward, onward, onward. By the way, when he was asking you all about this, what she would do with Sandy, I don't know where he was coming from on that, actually. But the nice thing is she's very loyal. The trait she shows is and he shows a loyalty to this dog, this primal spirit.
It's nice to think of a story where you don't even mean.
She doesn't contradict him.
She's at the mansion. Daddy, what about the mansion?
Like divorce. So you see, I was trying to weave her personal life into Annie's story. And he's doing a pretty good job here. She doesn't directly contradict him. I think her yawn is another anxiety thing. Need more oxygen. Amygdala's firing. Need some oxygen.
But it seems like when she gets uncomfortable, she'll say something about the tape.
Yes. Yeah, she diverts it to that. Or again, she's doing her stockings. Yeah, there's her socks right now, actually. But he's being gentle, and he's trying to move within this medium, again, defining who she is in certain ways, that she's not owning. Owning. He's willing to go tangential with her. Right on, Rudy. Got it. I don't know how well you could hear that. Glad you brought the movie and all that. How many times did you go see it? 3 times. I'm glad you brought it. Because I know why you like this movie so much. She's looking. Because you understand what it's like to lose a parent and want to have a good daddy back. And she nods. It's like, yep, you got it, buddy. That's very cool. That's an interpretation. And he did it palpable, timed it right, everything happens, and it helps define her in certain ways. It helps connect. I think she feels connected to him. You see me, you value who I am. He says it in a valuing way. See, in many ways, psychoanalytic assumptions are very much like humanistic. Own the disavowed self. Only what they would say as a disavowed self is perhaps different than the assumptions humanists would have. But certainly sex and aggression could be some of that, but there's more to life than that. But that was very cool. See, as a human, I wouldn't have thought necessarily of saying that, waiting and then doing it. I'm more in the moment if it comes up. But that's cool. That was a very useful interpretation. Bonded her. And then, of course, she will distract now, but she at least acknowledged him.
She wanted that the daddy was going to keep her. I can't remember now.
Didn't she want Daddy Warbucks to keep her?
She was quite sure that he would keep her.
And now they'll fragment.
Well, she could have gone back to the orphanage in case she left.
Oh, well, but that's not much of a deal, is it? Just thinking that she would lose now that she's a new friend and a new daddy, then he deserts her again and she's going to go back to his nasty people. No, what I mean is how she know. You can't know this in the beginning. When you make a friend, you go right away that the friend is going to remain faithful to you. You've got to figure out first. And if you get a new daddy, how can you be sure the daddy is going to stay?
So he's trying to be realistic with her. She resists. It's like they got close and now they kind of like, whoa, 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 whoa. Didn't Annie want Daddy Warbucks? Well, yeah, and she gets him. Well, no, you don't know ahead of time how it's going to be. If you meet a friend, you can't just immediately trust him. It's kind of old world wisdom. And she's frankly going like this. It's like, and then he finally lets up. And so he tries in a way to teach her old world wisdom about friends and trusting. That's a reflection. You have great passion, you have a great ability to get very immersed in what's important to you. That'll serve you well in life. You have a great memory, too, for that matter. dancing or for talking? Classic preteen. She's a tweener. Some of these songs are dumb because it's not the kids who are singing it. So she's moving towards the me, not we. Remember the whole we, me thing? I'm not you dumb adults. It's classic. Classic. That separation individuation. What are you connected to? Not we. In that moment. That's beautiful. Kojak, Telly Savalas, yeah.
But they said he was, at the end, you'll hear them tap dancing. And he did pretty good, but, you know.
Now that was very, very nice what he said. It's nice to have a daddy who can tap dance. Picking up that theme again. That's very cool.
Actually, don't know. I couldn't say it anymore, but I can talk. Maybe I say anymore.
I can talk like Dave Warburg, but I just can't dance like him. Do you want to tap dance? Do you want to tap dance? Can you tap dance? Yes.
Does any tap dance do that?
Thoughts about that? He says, can you tap dance? Talk about tap dance. You know, I couldn't be Dad Warburg, so maybe I could talk like him. Nice to have a daddy who can tap dance. Can you tap dance? Yeah. She goes up, she does that. He says, guess you have to have tap dance shoes for that.
So that was certainly not very empowering. Let's put it that way. That took away whatever.
Not good enough. If her issue is, I don't feel good enough, I've got to show you how great I am. Witness me, see me, see me, see me. I'll be a cute blonde. I'll be nice because I'm not good enough otherwise. I want his messages be more than that. Tap dance. She does this whole thing. I think actually she does pretty dang well, as a matter of fact. Guess you have to have tap juice for that. Now, he doesn't say it with obvious contempt, but it's not exactly, whoa, you don't even have tap dance shoes and you're still doing that fabulously. And I don't mean overstating. I understand over-compliment. By the way, they have this theme about over-gratification. They don't want it. That's one of their big themes. You get fixated on a stage because you're over-gratified, and that's it, too much of it. That's a very contra-humanistic theory, by the way. So, Maslow, when you get it done, then you move on. It's when you don't have enough of it, you keep fixating. They have both ends. But anyway, I think that's part of it. You don't want to really compliment her too much or whatever. It's over-gratifying. Filling a narcissistic need in some unrealistic way. I think she did pretty dang good. I would say, I think you're doing great. Obviously, it's up to you in here. That's cool. And you don't even have tap dance shoes on. The main thing she's saying is, connect with me. Yes.
Do more modern psychoanalysts change that with kids? Because I can imagine why that might work better with adults to not over-gratify, but with kids, I can imagine that being...
I would think they do. I mean, again, don't forget Anna, baked cookies. What's your favorite cookie? Chocolate chip. Next week, there are Anna Freud's chocolate chip cookies. At least that's the myth. But it has, I'm sure, some truth to how she was, knowing that these are kids, man. This isn't transference. This is reality. I'll darn your holes in your socks because it's real here. So I would think that's probably also true. I mean, you can also say, I see you, it's really important for you to have my approval. I mean, you can still make a meta comment about the communication style. And I appreciate that important to you, however, or whatever you want to do with that. But there are things you can still do with that. She just distracts, she goes back in to the story. Why would it be interested in a child?
The secretary told her she's such a sweet child.
What is it?
The secretary told him that she's such a sweet child.
That he was a man who was very busy. How did he get the idea that he wants to have a child in his life?
Well, he thought that thing and then he spent all the time to child.
Maybe he was lonesome too. And he thought his life was empty without children around the home. I just live for money.
So again, he's trying to give her kind of old world wisdom. Hey, have you ever thought, it's a two-way street here. It's not just you wanting it. Why would Daddy Warbucks want a kid? He's got all this money. And she does, because the secretary said such a nice girl. Hey, wait. Maybe he's lonely too. Can't just live for money. And she does the little nod. Cool. Right? He's trying to implant some other possibilities here. That's cool. And she seems to buy that. And of course, she'll go right into the theme again. The story kind of distract or retract. Tell me, listen. Tell me, have you ever thought how similar that movie is to E.T.? I think they talked about E.T. It sounds like in some other session or something. Okay? Now again, he's very patient. He's willing to just sit very quietly. So, I typically do much more reflecting, humanistic, much more reflecting. But he sits, that's fine. She's in her own reverie, whatever. Kind of Quakerism, we can do this. Connected in the silence. And he says, have you ever thought how similar? I know all your brilliant minds are going, here comes a beautiful 2-point response. And look at her face. She's thinking about, she's like,
They're both lost. They're both lost. And they both don't have a home.
That's right. Both want to find a home where they can be happy with the father and the mother. And we all have great good feelings for that.
I saw E.T. again.
You saw it again. So because we all know how it feels to be without a home. And that's what makes, most of them such success.
I forgot to bring all my
It's a pity. Sometimes they can't hear each other. It's a pity. So that's really, really beautiful. Out of the blue, oh yeah. I see that they had talked about E.T. because obviously she said I went and saw it again. Yeah, they both are lost. They both don't have a home. Parentheses, like you, or at least how you feel. And then he eventually even says that, and you have an understanding that, like you. And it's a big theme. It's not just you. We all love those movies because it's a big theme in all of us. And then she associates, interesting enough, to, oh yeah, I was going to bring all my stuffed animals. Home away from home, things that nourish me, comfort me, surround me, make me feel home wherever I am. And then they don't hear each other, so off they go. So he tries to help her. Now it's problem solve in a sense. So what can a child do like you to make a good home? I don't know, but this got ruined. Now it got fixed. So what would be a classic hallmark you could say here?
Either a defense mechanism and not talk about it to avoid the situation of his question.
Well, yeah, I'm not being clear. A hallmarkian is kind of a statement would be like, wow, sometimes things get better and we don't even know how. That's kind of Ericksonian. That's saying, by the way, sometimes things do get better and we don't know how. I'll use this concrete example as a more metaphorical, mythic. But I think you're also right in your interpretation in that sense.
What do you think, Dad?
I don't know, but we will.
Yeah, sometimes things get better. And that's using the actual to be allegorical. Because you're hitting a different area of the brain to try to, if you want to say, convince optimism. If you look at trait-wise, realistic optimism. Best part, the end, when they're tap dancing together, all of them, the grown-ups and the kids, together tap dancing. It's amazing. She won't let it go either. It's fantastic.
And mommy, I just stick out my chin and grin and
She takes, what chance does she take?
I stick out my chin. She's singing about tomorrow. The sun come out tomorrow.
In case you missed it.
Tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow. Who's the weather?
So she is home about tomorrow, takes a chance. She's not saying anything.
And she buys that. See that little shake? She's not sad anymore, no. So that's really good. He's trying to say, hey, what trait? Optimism. Hope about tomorrow. Take a chance. It's going to turn out okay. She's not sad anymore. We'll do this through Annie, the buffer here, the screen for you. And she goes, no, she's not sad anymore. Ah, very good. Orbital frontal lobe and prefrontal cortex.
So she takes a chance with Daddy Papa, and she takes a chance with her. Imagine the orphanage people would have told him that she's a runaway child who always runs away.
Does.
It's not rewinding. Sometimes it doesn't rewind. When she has to leave and go home. Jackie Bormax gave $5,000 for the parent that came. And so the son at Macy Street, well, Miss Hannigan's brother and her girlfriend were dressed up as her mom and came over to Miss Hannigan. Miss Hannigan didn't remember what they looked like. But then they told her. And then, so Miss Hannigan had to lock it in a little box. Because when her mom and dad got in the wreck, the police brought all their stuff that they had to lock it. And so she gave them to the fake parents, and they got $500 and they got Annie. This is when they had to leave in their city.
And they must have got the chance to their own parents. That's terrible, isn't it?
They just want to get the $500.
When you want to leave with your real parents, well, all they wanted was
So he does a nice summary of how he wants her to see this, her life. Being very patient with her, but it bugs him that she pulls it. But he,
He goes back to the audience and to each other.
she now, for the next 5 minutes, or whatever, they're going to do something very different. She brought a game. And he plays it with her. And not right wrongs, just different than a humanist would play that game with her. As you will see.
If you could write letters to Annie afterwards, maybe, when then this will take more work. And with this, and who will be the mommy there? Is there a lady who will be the mommy?
Oh yeah, the secretary.
All right, she will be the mommy. Nice to know that they had, Annie number 2 was next to her later. They always tell them about the past and they're curious about the future.
Just a minute. I have to play that.
What is that?
I have to play that.
No.
I'm going to play.
What are you going to say? You're really the master of the whole program. I can't get a word in edgewise. A little bit I can talk occasionally, that's the sometimes you think. What are you doing last?
So you hear that? You're the master of the whole program. I can't get a word in edgewise. Sometimes, sometimes I can talk a little bit and you hear me. But he also allows her, right? Now she's going to do this game. It's a variation on checkers, or not checkers, on tic-tac-toe.
Just a guy, right? Make it red.
Can you see me? We're going to play tic-tac-toe.
Oh, tic-tac, I see what that's clever. And a little bit two more.
Yeah.
So what does it all there? Tic-tac-toe, then I'll be left on. Have to maybe change take some black out, and put some.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. Where you put in all the stuff. know, and I learned as a child, he plays that way.
This way?
Yeah.
With these?
Yeah, you could always take one, you know, out and reset it. I show you that how. Alright, now. Good.
Well, let me see, two.
No, we need only three, you know. Put this on. Okay, this four.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You need only three, you know. In my game, you know, so you put here these. That's what you know how to place it. You start out, yeah. You always want three in a row. Now what happens?
Do you know how to play humanistic checkers? Did we talk about? Well, we didn't talk about this.
Probably however they want to play it.
Correct. Especially this age, they want to play games. You play. In fact, in the old days, you say if I ever gave a finalist class, it'd be humanistic checkers, especially for guys. It's so hard because your testosterone. You're not that you aren't competitive, whatever, but they get out a game. They get out checkers. Let's just say, or check. Yeah. So you set up the board, and of course you say, it's up to you. In here, you can think, feel, say anything, do about anything, play it any way you want. Okay, let's play. So they set up the board, and they'll say, how do you want it? Black, red, totally up to you. Where do you want me to move? Now, most good wanting to test their causative agency kids at this stage don't want me just to do, and they don't really want that. They want some challenge. So I say, okay, great. How hard? You set the dial. You want me to play as hard as I possibly can? I will play as hard as I possibly can. Medium, really light, it's up to you. Yeah, I'm an old guy. I've had more experience of this. I'm probably better. I might not be. We'll see. They usually set it about here. They don't want my heart. Something I'll say, you play your best. I'll say, I'll play my best. I really will. And then I will. I will play my best. I'm not a great checker player, but what happens then, they set up the board, and I will say out loud, I say, I'm going to move here. And then they'll make a move. I'll say, you know, if you move there, just know, I can take those three men. It's up to you. Almost invariably, oh, and then they change it around. They go, it's really important. I totally get it. It's really important for you to win, and that's up to you. That's fine. I know how good it feels. I will say it's a little hard. When they take the player, they go looping like a helicopter around the board over here, nail that guy that was about to get queened or kinged or whatever it is. It's a little hard for me to say, oh, I see it's really important for you, and you're very lateral in your thinking. You're able to think out, not only outside the box, but outside the checkerboard. Instead of screaming, you're cheating! It's not, what's the F word? Fair! The primordial sense. Haven't seen the tapes about the monkeys and the bananas and the grapes and all that? Holy schmoly. 3 and 4. But it's interesting, they mostly like the challenge. And then they also, if they win too much, they'll give you a few. Because again, it's not fair in that sense. But causative agents, they want at least a challenge. But I will continually redefine it. It's up to you, because it's not about the game. It's about the relationship and you and how you see yourself and define yourself and all that stuff. On the other hand, another philosophy would have it, as you can see, he's telling her how to play this game.
You go there. Of course, I have no other choice, but I have to go there.
I can't see it.
Huh?
I can't see it. I'm going to destroy it.
You want to start? I don't want to do that.
Because I can't see it.
You gotta play that.
Where he's not being a typical parent is he concedes. Okay, another parent might say, no, hey, stick to it. No, come on. Or, oh, I see, you're losing, so you just want to destroy it. So he's not in that sense, rebuking her, shaming her, and all that. But you can say he's invested. He gets more invested. Just watch.
So now we go back from the deep down of the and his father only again, but we don't know what's going to happen next, and our audience will have to wait. Now we have a short game to test whether one of us can win or not.
Test whether one of us can win or not. They're going to play again.
It's an interesting game, you know, you have to really watch yourself. Very good. No, this one yourself, huh? This one you discovered.
Look at her look.
Very good.
Look at Look at his look.
There's the man.
Two different.
Now you see, I was too much watching for this one, you know. And I played too much to me and didn't play good enough to prevent you from winning. Well, shall we play one more tricky?
Going to play one more. He's not going to leave it at a draw.
I will not see you next week. It's very sad. I feel like many more by going on a trip.
Why would you see me?
Because I have to be in San Francisco next week.
Oh, yeah, so
I told you, sure. You know, I didn't want to tell you the last moment. So I feel a little bit like Danny Moore by going on business trips. So everyone will have to you during that week. And I'm far away.
That's poignant. It's also tricky on the timing. She wins. He says, and I'm going to be here next week. You win, I leave. But in fairness, he had already told her that. And listen now, she cares. Why not? Oh, that's right. You told me. Yeah, I didn't want to tell you last minute. It's kind of last minute, but not totally last minute. But it is interesting in terms of the timing. Who do you think is going to win? This is it, man. This is it. This is the big playoff.
Yes.
Okay. Who starts? She does a J for Jacqueline.
I start.
You start. J for Jacqueline.
You didn't want that?
What do you think? Now, in fairness, this is in front of an audio. It's going to be in front of an audience. Wait, stop. No, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put it there. Tough luck. What is the philosophy behind this? Why would he do that? What's your...
Make a mistake, you can't undo it, or you can't, I mean, you have a consequence for an error or whatever.
Correct, right. Otherwise, it's over-gratifying, right? You know, hard knocks life, man. Toughen up. This is psycho boot camp. Let's do this. You want a challenge? You got a challenge. Besides, it's the third game. It's a tie and in front of all these people, and I'm this famous scholar. Are you kidding? And I have a lot of causative agency in me. I got to get this. Pretty amazing, though. But it is, I think, an assumption about, you know, you've got to practice in here what's out there. What's the counter answer to that? Why are the humanists will just dub it as that? Not do that. Of course I'd like, of course you want to get to be doing it. Of course you're going to be doing it in here. Why? Why? What's the counter argument? Right. If I do that, what gets evoked? If I say to her, tough luck, what part of her anatomy is getting evoked? Of course. That's psychological safety? No, it's fight, flight. In this case, it's fight if she has spunk, because she has spunk. So good for her, she's going to fight back. Otherwise, she'd go, never mind, just forget it. That'd be really a pity. I'm trying to, and why am I trying to create psychological safety? Why am I trying to do that? What's the assumption? If I create that in this I-thou-ness, value validated, then what happens?
I mean, connection, she'll open up, she'll start to talk.
She'll think, feel, say anything she wants.
She'll be the best of who she can be. How are we the best of who we are? Not when we're in our amygdalas and we're like this. I mean, it's really useful, never mind the savannah with the saber tooth, but in really bad, yeah, but most of the time it's really not all that useful. You're in your playful mind, your creative open mind, your compassionate mind. That's the best one of you to be in charge. Who's in charge right this moment? How can I help you have the best part of you be in charge right here, right now? And then generalize out there. You're going to get so many hard knocks out there. You think you need to learn that here? Can't you have one sanctuary? Can't we have one sanctuary somewhere where you don't have to tough luck it? You get a redo. What's it, mulligan or whatever that's called? I don't know golf enough. You get to redo. You get a redo. Of course you do. And that will bolster strength and courage and all that part of you that can take the hard knocks out there. That's the really good part. All right, let's run it through. And she looks a little down. Look at that. A wonderful idea, but I won't tell you. Now the idea isn't so wonderful. Thought you were going to fall for a trick.
Congratulations. I felt my young trick. That is good.
She won. So if we did the God coin, I bet you would have wished that she would have won. And she did. The other part of this whole win-lose is, of course, it's very conditional. It's all about you're better if you win and worse. It's the AF, that whole thing, or A minus, or all that. And when you take it out of that arena, then your competence and mastery motivation kick in instead of compensatory drive. Please.
I'm wondering if he had in mind that he was going to allow her to win when she screwed up, so that he could have her realize that even though she didn't make the right move that she wanted to make, she still was able to win.
Oh, I don't. That'd be wonderful, though a little sneaky. I have no sense of that at all. I think he's very invested. When he's saying, I have an idea, but I'm not going to tell you, that feels very real to me. He wants to win, it seems to me. I like your thought about that. I like the lesson. It'd be nice if he, even now that you're legitimately lost, to underscore that. You can make a wrong move and still the final outcome comes out great. I mean, again, that's one of those life learning aphorisms, kind of Hallmarkian. That would be really great. What's your overall thoughts? What's your overall reaction? Again, he has a very solid theory, and he applies it. He believes where there's id, there should be ego. Insight, awareness, as I say, defining through that introspection, very prefrontal cortex, limbic to prefrontal. And he's very consistent. By the way, what they do now is just talk about how he's going to be gone, but he'll be back. And that. What do you think? How'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about the session? Yes?
I thought that he was a very genuine self, both the kind of not so reaffirming at times, but kind of three-dimensional that way as a therapist.
Yeah.
Which I think in some ways could be helpful, but in some ways kind of, I don't know, it felt a little off to me. But probably because that's not the approach that I would use myself.
Okay, fair enough.
Definitely had like a twinkle in his eye for her. I felt like, he was very empathic towards her, kind of allowing her to run the session for the most part,
Right.
and do what she really wanted to do. And so in that sense, I thought, for her it was a little bit of safety there.
Yeah, I mean, she clearly is connected. Again, she cares he's leaving all this. She wants him to see her. He's less in joining. I mean, again, the joining connection through joinment isn't how. He's not going to dance with her. Okay. By the way, I did have a kid ask me to dance once. And she was a really good. And in fact, it was that one that I told you I kind of raised, the one who asked me to go with the father dad dance. And she then said, let's do a contest. Okay, we'll do a contest. And she put on actually some music, and obviously she won the contest. But, so first of all, I'd say that's such an honor. Thank you, that's really cool. I may or may not dance, depending. Again, it's about the comfort range. If I dance But with her, we didn't actually dance together. We kind of competed, and she was the judge for both her and me. First of all, she was great. She's a gymnast. It's fine. But it's interesting what we do or not. I will say that, ironically, a student looked and went, I worked with him when I was 12. And it was exactly like that. So on the one hand, I felt in some ways that he had twinkle in the eye, to use that language, and that he liked me. But then I felt like I had to perform for him in some way, that it was conditional in some way. And we'd get into what felt like an argument. Like he puts his thing and then it was not for me. But on the other hand, he seemed like a kind man, and genuine. So it's interesting.
He reminds me of the grandpa who loves his grandchild but doesn't know how to connect with them.
Yeah, in some ways. But he is more patient there. He lets her pound the thing. What are you doing? Okay, I guess you're picking out. You think that's going to make it better? Okay. He kind of lets her. Yeah.
There is some relationship, and although stylistically it might be different than what we prefer, you notice in a number of instances he leans forward, he makes intentional eye contact.
Absolutely.
He
is a witness. He is in many ways also a witness, even if it's in quiet silence, and she sees that. Very good. Yeah, you had a last comment? No. Okay. Yeah. Good. Onward. Thank you for staying a little later. Wanted you to see the whole thing. Look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week. Empathy and insightful week. Empathic and insightful. There's your little pumpkin.
Yeah.
There's your little pumpkin.
And he just slept in his crib for the first
Oh, how very cool. Oh, hello, little pumpkin. Look at you. Sound asleep. Fabulous. Okay. Oh, turn this off. So obviously it is important to her.
Fortunately, you're not having hand, you don't get to do that.
Carrie, I'll accept that.
But you're so sensitive.
I'll be right back because I have to go change real fast.
But you had said all answers so fast. Marvelous. I thought it was a school joke. It's a good joke, huh? Well, thanks to the television audience. That watched us, and I hope they enjoyed it. And in 2 weeks we have another surprise, right? Good. Bye-bye.
I'm not leaving yet.
I know.
Progress was so soft on us.
Okay.
I don't get that.